Here's some objectives that we're shooting for, right? And the real thing is that we'll focus most on is the ability to kind of develop a process and kind of understand that it isn't so much just like I'm going to click on things until I find the evidence, but that you can make kind of connections between different areas to kind of build your investigation and do it more, for lack of a better term, sanely, right? Just clicking around is just not the best way to do it. We'll also kind of talk about some of the methods you can use to kind of better prepare yourself for investigations. So as well as kind of doing the response to both a victim and suspect system, the questions that you want to ask ahead of time to make yourself better prepared. We'll also talk about areas where you can find sources of evidentiary value that you may not have been aware of, or you may have been aware of but may not understand their full capabilities, so we'll kind of talk about that. We'll also talk a lot about malicious activity, so a lot of this is going to be focused on around malicious software that's on a system and kind of some of the artifacts that it leaves behind in areas where we can find evidence that that an infection has occurred or something like that, or what a piece of malware was doing. And then finally, that you'll hopefully have a little bit more confidence, right? That is obviously a goal, right? If you have less confidence, I think that we have probably done a poor job, and that should be in your reviews. But hopefully I'll have a little bit more confidence going into things. So one thing about this class is what it is, right? This is focused on the investigative process, as I said. So what this course is designed to do is to say, like, you're starting from the beginning. You want to get to the end. You want to find out who did it, right? How can we put the pieces together, right? And that's what it's really going to be focused on. It's really meant to build on your current skill set, right? We are assuming, right, although we understand that some of you may not have done a ton of forensics in the past, we are assuming that you have a decent computer knowledge, right, and at least some knowledge of forensic topics and things like that. We'll kind of pace it how we need to kind of fit the class, but hopefully we're kind of building on what you currently have. The real goal of this, however, is to make it so that you have a better method of managing your investigations. Like I said, it really is incredibly inefficient to just go onto a computer and say, like, I'm going to start clicking until I find the evidence, right? We're going to focus more on the approach of, like, how can I kind of direct myself to the areas so I'm not just clicking on everything. I'm not having to look through terabytes of data, but I'm focusing on the areas that are most relevant. It's really designed to provide an alternative investigative approach. This isn't like the only way that you can do things, right? There are obviously other ways, so you need to find what's best for you. And we're basically going to kind of address some of the emerging areas and kind of emerging topics. This isn't really an in-depth kind of discussion of each training element, right? We are trying to cover, there are courses, we could cover memory analysis over the course of the 3 days, right? So we're going to talk about it from to get you kind of a little bit further along in kind of maybe some of your analysis capabilities and understanding the tools and techniques. But this isn't necessarily a replacement, like now you know everything about memory analysis, right? Just to be clear. This isn't really a ground-up training course either, right? We are kind of going by some assumptions that you have some background on things. And again, we'll work on that, so don't worry about it if you don't have much forensic experience. But we are kind of building on some some foundation. And it's not really focused on one topic area, as was clear by the agenda, right? We're going to basically jump around and go kind of through a gauntlet of different classes.